Today we're making sexual remarks.
Okay, so in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the topic du jour, the story that's on everybody's lips. MasterChef host Gregg Wallace stands accused of making some pretty tasteless remarks.
Just put all your ingredients in a bowl.
Accused, according to him, by a load of bitter old Karens.
Middle class women of a certain age.
But for all of my hilarious food puns, I want to get to the bottom of this story today. I'm feeling like Pontius Pilate.
Ponce!
I really can't decide what's funnier. The comments that Gregg Wallace might have made to some women over the years.
Into that handful of sexual innuendo.
Or the reaction of people who are offended by them, or the people who are trying to defend him. It's all pretty hilarious, is what I'm trying to say.
We pour that into our little bowl and we bake it in the oven for 20 years.
But mark my words, we will reach a decision before the end of today's video. It's either Gregg Wallace or Barabbas. One of them has to walk free. I guess the people accusing Gregg Wallace are Barabbas. Gregg Wallace is Jesus Christ. Anyway, welcome to the Daniel Boland Show.
Who's Daniel Boland? Oh, Daniel Boland, this is a heavy hitter. Do you guys know who this is?
Okay, so just briefly before we get into all of the hilarious reactions to these accusations, let's just see what Gregg Wallace is actually accused of. So, according to The Guardian here, a slew of accusations have emerged of inappropriate remarks and behaviour dating back as far as 19 years. So what's that, like the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s? No, 2005, how time flies. Gregg Wallace has been accused of making sexualized jokes and other inappropriate remarks towards a range of women dating back nearly 2 decades. Broadcaster Kirsty Walk was one of the first women to publicly accuse Wallace of inappropriate behaviour, telling BBC News last week that he told sexualized jokes during filming of Celebrity MasterChef in 2011. Walk said that she felt the comments were really in the wrong place and that they made people feel uncomfortable. The claims included Wallace talking openly about his sex life, taking his top off in front of a female worker, saying he wanted to give her a fashion show, and telling a junior female colleague that he wasn't wearing any boxer shorts under his jeans. Now, we are getting to the hilarity. Don't worry about that, even though it seems like I am delaying the hilarity in today's video somewhat. But I do want to make my stance very clear before we move on. Okay? That seems to be the gist of the allegations, okay? That he's made some weird, sexy remarks, okay? Now, I've said many times in videos in the past that if I had my way, there would be morality police patrolling the streets of every Western nation.
Nobody will be safe.
I do not like it when people, unsolicited, start telling me about what they get up to in the bedroom. All right? That to me is an assault.
I'm sorry, I can't go on.
I did not ask for those images of you clumsily mounting your wife or husband. Believe me, they're the only people that you can. I don't hang around with no single people, okay?
You haven't got any friends, have you?
Very dangerous single people. You don't want to hang around with them. I'm living here with my family. I've put all the fairy lights up. That's what I'm doing this holiday season. I don't need no excitement in my life more than the fairy lights. I've got 2 Christmas trees, damn it. The point is, I don't like people like Wallace here, Gregg Wallace, telling me that they're not wearing no underwear.
Bit creepy.
All right, that is sickening to me. However, I don't have my way. All right, there ain't no morality police patrolling the streets as of yet. Okay? So I don't think that really 13 women in 20 years saying that he might have made some inappropriate remark is enough to end this guy's career.
Where is the line?
Indeed, that is the question, Bev Turner, you indomitable minx. Where is the line? Now, I may not be the best guy to ask where lines are. It's been a constant of my interpersonal relationships, not knowing where the lines is. However, I will say this. Gregg Wallace's response video, not great.
Now, I've been doing MasterChef for 20 years. Amateur, celebrity and professional MasterChef. And I think in that time, I have worked with over 4,000 contestants of all different ages, all different backgrounds, all walks of life. And apparently now, I'm reading in the paper, there's been 13 complaints in that time.
Now, if Gregg Wallace had continued in this vein with his response video, I would have been absolutely behind it. He's right to say that he's worked with 4,000 people over a 20-year period, and 13 of them just didn't get his sense of humour, or they didn't like the interactions they had with him. That's absolutely a legitimate thing to say, and to be honest, the accusations that have been mentioned in the articles about him, they seem pretty light.
Now, in the newspaper, I can see the complaints coming from a handful of middle-class women of a certain age just from Celebrity MasterChef.
Now, here's where it gets a little bit complicated, because I actually agree with what Gregg Wallace has said there, but I understand it doesn't sound great, okay? He's saying that the complaints are less legitimate because they come from a certain demographic, right? Of middle-class women of a certain age doesn't sound great, and that's what all of the headlines have latched onto, that he's saying, oh, all of these complaints are from middle-class women of a certain age, you know, Karens, right? But he didn't just say that. He added to that they've all come from the Celebrity MasterChef editions. They're all sort of these washed-up celebrities who are on MasterChef and who are making these complaints about some inappropriate remarks that he's made. I actually agree with what he's saying there, though, because if it were that these complaints had come from a load of people who'd just been on the normal MasterChef, and he said that they were just middle-class women of a certain age. Well, some of the complaints are 20 years old. I'm glad he wasn't making inappropriate remarks on Junior MasterChef to kids. Obviously, they're going to be women of a certain age. And middle-class, well, you know, you're presenting MasterChef. It ain't the Jeremy Kyle show. So they're going to be kind of middle-class. But the important point is what he said right after that, which everybody's, you know, deliberately not hearing. He said that the complaints have come from the Celebrity MasterChef. And that, to me, is the thing that he should be emphasising. He should come out swinging and say, these washed-up fucking nobodies just want to have a pop at me because I'm doing great.
This isn't right. In 20 years, over 20 years of television, can you imagine how many women, female contestants on MasterChef, have made sexual remarks or sexual innuendo? Can you imagine?
Again, I think Gregg is right. I completely agree with him, but his message isn't what he wants it to be. He needs to really go for it, man. You need to defend yourself. You need to say, look, I've done nothing wrong. I haven't killed anybody. I've just made some stupid jokes, and a few washed up nobody women who wish they were still on the telly and were half as successful as I am want to have a go at me. They want to be relevant. They want to be in the news again, right? I'm assuming this is what's happening because the accusations so far are not any worse than that. God forbid 6 months from now and we've got some kind of worse situation on our hands. We've got an English Bill Cosby. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Basically, while I think that most of what he's saying is quite reasonable and the accusations are very sort of soft, we're going to go into them in a bit more detail later on in the video. There's some pretty funny ones. But I don't think he's doing any good with this response video, right? Now, there are already a load of people out there who don't like him for whatever reason. You know, a lot of people just don't like successful men, and they want them to get cancelled for being a misogynist and a racist, and they love it when all this dirt comes out about somebody like this. There's a lot of people who don't like this sort of cockney done good nouveau riche guy, this working class guy who's become a millionaire from owning a greengrocer's, right? There's loads of dynamics going on in people's heads, and while all that is true, I think there are just a lot of people who watch his response video, not apology video, his response. They watch his response and the vibe just isn't what you need, okay? I don't think it's convincing anybody who hadn't already made their mind up.
Now, I've been doing MasterChef for 20 years.
This pool's been open nearly 40 years.
Amateur, celebrity and professional MasterChef.
And in all that time, I only slipped up once.
And I think in that time, I have worked with over 4,000 contestants.
40 people had broken in, were in the pool.
Of all different ages, all different backgrounds, all walks of life.
Doing all manner of prohibited activities.
And apparently now, I'm reading in the paper, there's been 13 complaints.
And eventually someone was killed.
Now, in the newspaper, I can see the complaints coming from a handful of middle-class women of a certain age.
Isn't that an indictment against yourself?
In 20 years, over 20 years of television, can you imagine how many women, female contestants on MasterChef, have made sexual remarks?
Well, I would say this. I've been working here for 18 years. In 1975, no one died. In 1976, no one died. In 1977, no one died. In 1978, no one died. In 1979, no one died. In 1980, someone died. In 1981, no one died. In 1982, there was the incident with a pigeon. In 1983, no one died. In 1984, no one died. In 1985, no one died. In 1986, I could go on.
Can you imagine?
Okay, so let's take a look at some of the accusations in more detail. A lot of people have been tweeting about Gregg Wallace, a lot of famous people. And we're going to start with a channel favourite, a hero of everyone who loves the Daniel Boland show.
I think we should send the Ukrainians some F-16s.
Rod bloody Stewart. So Rod had this to say on his Instagram account today. So Gregg Wallace gets fired from MasterChef. Good riddance, Wallace. You humiliated my wife when she was on the show. But you had that bit cut out, didn't you? You're a tubby, bald-headed, ill-mannered bully. Karma gotcha, Sir Rod Stewart.
It's the end of civilization as we know it. It's all over. So F-16s, please.
Rod Stewart, everybody. I gotta say, I love Rod Stewart. He's one of the last of a dying breed of non-surly permadrunks. But like Peter O'Toole and Richard Harris and maybe not so much Oliver Reed. He was probably a bit surly at times, but I bet he was a laugh. Okay, so this was an interesting one that I found today because it's from way back in February and it's from this woman, Mimi Aye, or I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but she's quite a famous food critic in England and she had this to say about Gregg Wallace. Reminder that years ago I cooked at an event for Gregg Wallace who said my name was silly and proceeded to call me you for the rest of the day. To me that just sounds like the kind of friendly banter that you would expect from a Cockney greengrocer. Of a certain age, which is exactly what Gregg Wallace is, basically. That's his background. Okay, now he's a millionaire, now he's a celebrity, and has to hang around with all these prissy people who think that anyone gives a toss about their food critic career. Nobody gives a toss. It's friendly banter. All right, you. That's not to say, however, that all of the anti-Gregg Wallace comments have been equally pathetic as Yu's comments there. I mean, Julia Hartley-Brewer had this to say, yeah, Greg, all those bloody middle-class women of a certain age preferring not to be groped and leered at by a fat, balding, talentless gimp of a certain age. What's wrong with them, eh? Julia Hartley-Brewer there. I have to say, I am fickle in nature at times. And when somebody says something that rolls off the tongue so easily like that did, fat, baldy gimp, or whatever she called him. You know, a few more of those, and I'll be team anti-Gregg Wallace. Oh, and here's Burnside, one of the edgier accounts that I follow on Twitter. For what? Touching up middle-class women? Succulent middle-class women of a certain age?
I find it quite pleasant. Left to my own devices, I'd probably munch the living daylights out of your little tart. Very, very nice.
Excuse me?
I'm really in two minds. I base it off the people who go after him or defend him, and I'm kind of I'm on the fence, I've got to say. If he is making remarks like the tart one there, that's very weird, you know. And the groping, has there been any groping? That's kind of
As a working class man in show business, have you found that middle-aged, middle-class women don't understand you? They don't understand your brawny humour, and that you just...
No, they just don't get it. I mean, you know, when you're in a working class environment, you walk around naked with a pineapple ring on your knob, and the women go, "Oh, you're so funny!" But the middle class ones just don't get it. Stuck up.
Very funny joke. I mean, I'm not sure he was doing anything that crude, but oh, my needle's swinging that way a little bit now.
What's being done to Gregg Wallace is a load of old shite. I absolutely think it's bonkers that someone can come up with something that offended them 14 years ago and have a complaint about it today. I'm not saying I don't believe someone. I'm not saying those things didn't happen. I'm not saying they don't feel what they feel. I'm just saying after 14 years, sod off with it. Honestly, if it was just a joke, or if it was just words, sod off.
No, now I am confused. Katie Hopkins made some good points too. Let's listen to another channel favourite. Jeremy Vine had an interesting interaction with someone who called into the Jeremy Vine show today. It was very nice. Let's have a listen. Some great points were made.
Stephen in Essex, do you think this shows that something's going very badly wrong at the BBC?
Well, this is debatable, but what I can't understand is that women cherry pick. They cherry pick to destroy certain men. And the biggest thing I cannot understand is, it makes me angry, that women have put in power Donald Trump.
Wow, who said nuance was dead, eh? Thank you, mystery caller, you master debater. You know, I had an incident of somebody cherry picking today with me too, to be honest. It really got on my nerves. Just like these women who don't like Gregg Wallace are cherry picking, and they don't like him talking about eating their tarts. They're cherry picking because at the end of the day, Donald Trump. I had an incident this morning. I didn't, but the guy felt like I cut him off as I was leaving a roundabout, which I didn't, okay? He was just in a rush or whatever, or wasn't happy about his home life, and he was all like getting up behind me, like hitting the horn, like he going mental. And then eventually we reached some traffic lights, and he's still going. So I said, you know what? And I wind my window down. I didn't wind it. All right, I pressed the button. Got a modern car, and I lowered my window with a smooth like that, and I said, hey, shut up, dickhead. You're cherry picking. You know, Hitler was democratically elected. He's all like, oh, you cut me off. What? I was like, Idi Amin.
And he's probably one of the biggest people. I'm not going to say what he's been accused of. We all know what he's been accused of. Women cherry pick. They're bringing down men because they don't like them. I was in the high street one day running in Brentwood. I got smacked on the bum by Fatima Whitbread. I didn't. She's a lovely lady.
So this guy is called in, and he's accusing former Olympic medalist javelin thrower Fatima Whitbread of having SA'd him. I guess in like the 80s in her heyday, because if she touched him now, I'm not sure he'd know it was Fatima Whitbread, because she's in her 60s. But apparently he got his bum touched by Fatima Whitbread. There you go.
I didn't take offence of it. It was a friendly gesture. What the hell is going on?
I was not expecting you to suddenly come
Random?
out with that. Fatima Whitbread smacked you on the bum as a friendly gesture. Now we'll have to get Fatima Whitbread's response.
Jeremy Vine there, people, a great friend of mine who follows me on Twitter, one of my most famous Twitter followers. Certainly the one I'm the most proud of. Jeremy Vine there. I've got to make another video about him. He's still, to this day, doing God's work, riding around London on his bike, trying to find people texting on their phones in gridlock traffic to make sure they lose their license, which is hilarious. He's unintentionally one of the most hilarious people on earth. Which is funny because his brother's the professional comedian, Timothy Vine. Anyway, it seems that in today's video, after all, we haven't reached a decisive conclusion. It's all a little bit up in the air. I guess Pontius Pilate, I am not. How did Pontius Pilate reach his conclusion as who to release? Did he have some help from... Oh, yeah. Anyway, maybe you can help me just like Pontius Pilate was helped. In the comments, you can let me know what you thought. And if you've enjoyed today's video at any point, give the video a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you want to help me out even further and get some access to some exclusive videos on Patreon, the link is in the description. We've got some new videos coming out this week on Patreon. And I said videos, plural. They're coming this week. And I guess what I'm going to leave you with here is an outro video, which really shows where we are as a species. It's about Gregg Wallace. It's two men. And it just shows where we are, as I say. Confused.
Well, Phil, what would you like to say?
Morning, guys.
Morning.
I think Gregg Wallace is being ganged up on by humorless, witchy women.
That's not going to endear you with a lot of women listening.
A lot of women I know, they're not endeared to me anyway, mate. With Gregg Wallace, he's too blokey for him.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a chip on their shoulder.
Have they?
Yep. A lot of women.
Yeah. This is, you know what? This is what I love this program, doing this program. It's such a pro. It's all about hearing diverse voices. And I want to hear more from you, Phil. I want to hear why you think this.
Hello?
Hello, Phil. Tell me more.
Well, it starts in school, doesn't it? It starts in the schoolyard, and it goes on all their lives. There's nothing worse. You know the women who arrange the flowers in church? Mate, don't get in an argument with them.
What do you mean?
Mate, they will gang up on you. You will be ostracised. You'll be bad-worded all over the place. They're merciless.
Are they?
Women can be merciless once they've got their teeth into you, and they'll strip the flesh off your bones.
So, to sum it up, you think Gregg is hard done by here, and he's being ganged up on?